Obinna was known in his village as the man with the softest heart. If you knocked on his door, it would open. If you stretched your hand, it would be filled. Food, money, time, strength. Obinna gave everything. He believed kindness was the highest law of the land. Deep inside, Obinna feared one thing more than hunger or sickness. He feared being called wicked. He feared people whispering that pride had entered his heart. So whenever help came knocking, even when his body was tired and his barn was empty, his mouth still said yes. As seasons passed, Obinna's smile grew thinner. His sleep became short, and his strength faded like dry leaves in harmattan. Still, when anyone came, he forced his smile and said yes. He gave until his hands shook and his eyes grew dull. At night, Obinna would sit alone and wonder why kindness felt so heavy. Yet he blamed himself. "Maybe I am not giving enough," he whispered. He never thought the problem could be his silence, his fear, or his inability to say one small word, no. One evening, Mma, the village elder, called Obinna to sit beside the old Iroko tree. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were deep with concern. "A river that gives water without rest will dry," she said gently. Obinna laughed.
"You have to listen to me, my child,
"Elder,
and do what makes you
never
happy."
dries," he replied. Mma sighed. "Kindness without wisdom becomes destruction," she warned. But Obinna's heart was closed. He believed suffering for others was proof of goodness. That night, a stranger appeared at Obinna's door. The visitor spoke softly and smiled warmly. "I am tired," he said. "May I rest here?" Obinna welcomed him without question and gave him food meant for the next day. When morning came, the visitor asked for more. More food, more time, more help. Obinna agreed, though his legs felt weak. Something about the visitor felt heavy, but Obinna pushed the feeling away. Saying no was not an option. The visitor did not leave. Each day, his requests grew larger. When Obinna gave food, he asked for money. When he gave money, he asked for strength. When Obinna rested, the visitor called him back. Obinna's body began to fail him. His hands trembled, his breath shortened, and his eyes lost light. Still, his lips said yes. The visitor watched closely, smiling as Obinna slowly disappeared inside his own kindness. Obinna's body was weak, but the visitor never left. He asked for food Obinna had not yet cooked, coins that were not in the house, and favors that made Obinna feel his heart shrink. Each request weighed heavier than the last, and the sun seemed to burn his shoulders as he moved. At night, Obinna sat under the stars and whispered to himself, "I cannot rest. I cannot breathe. I cannot even think of myself." Shadows of the trees stretched over him, as if the land itself was judging his endless giving. The cricket songs felt louder than usual, and the wind seemed to whisper warnings he could not understand. He remembered the goats that had gone hungry, the children whose laughter he had missed, the bread he had denied himself. His heart twisted painfully. "Is this kindness, or is this my own destruction?" he asked the night. And for the first time, he wondered if the elder's warnings were true, if saying yes to everyone could truly cost him his life. Just as Obinna thought he could give no more, Nma appeared silently under the old Iroko tree. Her eyes were sharp but gentle. "Obinna," she said, "the spirit have sent this visitor to show you a truth. Even the kindest heart must protect itself." Obinna sank to his knees, exhausted. "But elder, how can I say no? I fear the villagers will call me wicked, proud, selfish." Nma knelt beside him and placed her hands over his. "There is no shame in protection, Obinna. The spirits do not demand death in the name of kindness. The world respects those who honor their own heart." She looked toward the horizon where the first stars were blinking. "Your body, your time, your strength, they are sacred. You must not give them all away, or you will have nothing left to give." Obinna closed his eyes. For the first time, he felt the weight of wisdom. A thought formed inside him. Saying no may be the greatest kindness of all. The visitor returned that evening, his requests louder, bolder, hungrier. Obinna felt panic rise in his chest. The visitor asked for the harvest, the small coins he had hidden, even the cloth he had set aside for himself. Obinna's heart raced, and the shadows of the village walls seemed taller, darker. He could hear his own heartbeat echoing like a drum in the silent night. The fear of disappointing others pressed on him, but he felt Ima's words like a fire in his chest. Finally, his lips trembled and he spoke. "No." The visitor froze. For the first time, his endless requests were met with refusal. The wind stopped, the crickets fell silent, and the air felt heavy with expectation. Then slowly, Obinna felt the chains around his heart lift. His chest felt lighter, and a warmth spread through his arms. Freedom had a taste, and it was sweeter than any feast. The visitor's voice rumbled like distant thunder. "We were sent to test you, Obinna. A person who cannot say no will be emptied by the world. Strength, peace, destiny. But one who learns to say no protects what is sacred." Obinna stared at the visitor as he began to fade into the night. He saw not a monster, but a spirit sent to teach a lesson older than the mountains. The village around him seemed to breathe again. The leaves whispered, the river gurgled, and even the wind seemed to bow in respect. He remembered all the moments he had given until he had nothing, and he understood now. Kindness without boundaries is a dangerous river, but kindness guided by wisdom is like a tree with deep roots. It can bend, give shade, and survive the storms of life. Obinna's story teaches us a powerful truth. Kindness is a treasure, but it has limits. Giving without boundaries can drain your strength, peace, and even your destiny. Saying no does not make you wicked or selfish. It protects what is sacred, your heart, your time, and your life. True wisdom is knowing when to give and when to hold on. Remember, a person who cannot say no will lose everything, but the one who balances kindness with courage will live with strength, peace, and respect. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe for more folk tales and life lessons. You won't miss the next adventure, the next lesson, or the next story that will touch your heart and spark your mind. Hit subscribe and let the magic of storytelling come to you every time. And that's the story, my friends. I hope you've taken something out from it. Let me take a bow. Bye-bye and see you next time for another tale.